Hey there, it's David. Welcome back to Cross Fitness, helping men and women get in the best spiritual shape of their lives, one workout at a time. Quick thought in this video that I'm calling Cataclysmic Leadership Fails in the Bible. And so I was just thinking about this afternoon, before I turned the camera on, just right off the top of my head. I was just pondering, musing over this, how profound and epic things happen as a result of just a snap decision, a quick statement uttered, you know, by certain leaders in the Bible, and bam, epic, profound changes take place. Let me give you an example. Solomon's son, Solomon brought Israeli civilization to the apex of their existence, and then he died, and then had a son, Rehoboam, right? Well, the people coming before him and said, okay, how are you going to rule us? And so he gets the advice of the older men, say, hey, you need to treat these people well. Tell them you're going to lighten their load, and gives them some good, practical, wise advice. And then the young man, he asks them, well, you need to give them a really harsh, tough response and say, hey, my father was rough on you, I'm going to be even rougher on you, to summarize that. Well, Rehoboam tries to flex his muscle and takes the advice of the young man foolishly, and he loses 10 kingdoms. They had 12 tribes. He loses 10 out of 12, which became the northern kingdom, or called Israel, ruled by Jeroboam, man, because he just made a foolish leadership fail. Okay. Here's another one. Well, now you got Judah, the southern kingdom. We got the last king there, Zedekiah, right? And he, first of all, he gives his word and vows before God to that he won't do whatever the Lord says and whatnot. And Jeremiah says you've got to surrender to the Babylonians and all will be well. But he's afraid of the people, the leaders, and he won't do it. And as a result, the southern kingdom falls, goes into exile, never to be restored again. The 12 tribes, they evaporated, and they never came together in their allotments of land again. That's just two. A couple more. I'm thinking of King Herod. His wife Herodias has a daughter. They're at a banquet, celebrate his birthday. She does a seductive dance. He was so pleased or so drunk, he said, hey, whatever you want. What can I do? And he had all his guests out from him, and his mom, her mother, coaches her on, give me the head of John the Baptist on a silver platter. And King Herod capitulates, didn't want to embarrass himself in front of the guests because he had said it, and he gives the order. Epic leadership fail, kills someone who he respected and did not want to hurt, but because he said it out loud, he gives the order. John the Baptist gets beheaded, and his public ministry is done. Epic leadership fail. One more, Pilate. Jesus comes before him, and this is a famous, what is truth statement, and he's trying to wriggle out of it. He's a very unpopular leader with the Romans and the Jews. And he says to the Jewish leaders and the people, well, you have this custom around Passover where I can release one prisoner. So who do you want me to release? Jesus or Barabbas? He gives them, one extreme to the other, one good, one bad, one truth teller, one liar. And, Satan incites the people to give us Barabbas. And then so Pilate, consigns Jesus to being flogged with a cat of nine tails and then turned over for crucifixion. Epic leadership fails. There's 4 examples right there. What should they have done? What could they have done? Well, there's 3 thoughts I want to share with you, and let's see if we can bring this home to where we live in the 21st century. First, if we say something, which we're prone to do, that is wrong, it's presumptuous, it's off the cuff, it's a knee jerk, we need to suppress our ego which could be an acronym edging God out. We could just tap the brakes on our ego. Number two, we need to swallow our pride and admit that we're wrong. And number three, we need to verbally and vocally and strongly make the course correction. Okay, let's rewind back to King Rehoboam. What he should have done is accepted the advice of the older elders, the wise advice to speak favorably to the people and say, hey, let's work together to continue the great things that Solomon, my father, has begun. And he would have retained all 12 tribes of Israel. And there's no telling what would have happened. Okay, there wouldn't have been a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom, Israel and Judah. Okay, Zedekiah, what could he have done? He could have followed the word of the Lord through the prophet Jeremiah and says, you know what? I'm going to obey the word of the Lord and let the chips fall where they may. And Jeremiah promised him, said, God promises you that you're going to be okay, your kids are going to be okay, your wife's going to be okay, the temple's not going to be destroyed. But he was afraid of his leaders, and he capitulated because of his insecurity. And Judah fell. Okay? And King Herod, when he just made it, a stupid offer. What do you want? Anything you want. Well, anything? Like, are you serious? Anything? I want murder. He could have said anything short of murder. Or when he said it, he could have said, no, no, no. I didn't mean executing, man. I meant and he could have qualified that further. But he didn't do it. And he capitulated, and John the Baptist was dead. And same with Pilate. Pilate could, instead of giving them a choice, hey, you have a custom, I released one prisoner during Passover. Instead of giving them a choice, you could have said, I give you Jesus. And, be done with it. And then, who knows? I know ultimately, Jesus would have, been crucified as our propitiation, God's substitute for our sin and reconciled us to God and all of that. But I'm just saying Pilate could have made the course correction and just said, I'm making an executive decision because I'm in control here, and I'm not going to be manipulated and controlled by you. Okay? Here, I give you Jesus. And then walk back in and you're done. But he didn't do that. Now back to us. So what about us when we, you open our mouths and we say something foolish? Well, let's just suppress our ego, admit we're wrong, and make the course correction, whatever that looks like, to align ourselves with, well, what would wisdom do? What would Jesus have me to do? What does the Bible say? Okay? So I don't know if you find yourself in there somewhere. Maybe I can encourage you that it's not too late to make things right. You may have blown up a relationship because something you said. Well, what about today? You just write them a note, or you do an audio file on your phone. If you feel awkward about meeting with them or even calling them, do an audio file on your phone and send it to them. Say, hey, you know what? I am so sorry. I was out of line. I was out of turn. That was cruel. That was unkind, and I'm very sorry. I apologize. I hope you'll accept my apology and find it in your heart to forgive me. But I want to do what I can to make this right. It's good to do that in private, one-on-one. It's good to do that over the phone. It's hard to do conflict on a one-dimensional text or an email. That's better done in person. But, anything's better than nothing, okay? To offer an olive branch to try to make something right. Get your ego out of the way, admit you're wrong, and do the best you can by God's grace and with his help to make things right. All right, well, there you go. I hope that encourages you, maybe even inspires you to do something today that would advance God's kingdom cause in you and reconcile and patch up something that might need to be done. Okay? For now, I'm David, your virtual mentor, reminding you that I'm always for you. Hey, never against you. Have a peaceful day.